So what was the shooting incident that occurred? I think it was at a furniture store.
Oh, yeah.
Affordable furniture.
Where was that at?
Yeah, that was on the North Freeway, Northside. That was ours.
That was this crew too.
What happened there?
So a Northeast officer, vehicle, maybe used in a robbery, again, as a shot caller, just kind of peripheral. So I put a tracking device on it, and nothing happened. And I was actually in Cancun on vacation. And, I still got my phone, and Lalo Torres was running the unit. He's the other sergeant, good guy. And I see it breaking its geofence, and then all day, that vehicle with a bunch of guys in it, they're going by pawn shops and stuff like that. And, okay. And towards the evening, they all of a sudden decided to rob a furniture store. Took the unit by surprise, because they had been looking at this pawn shop. Everybody's out there. And they didn't see the stolen van that they had also. And anyway, when they came out, 3 of them got killed, 2 of them got killed, a bunch of shootings. But yeah, and I faded the heat on that one, even though I was in Cancun, because I had already had arguments with the command staff over, or loud discussions about, the priority of life. And here we are, the same unit has been involved in another shooting. Yeah, okay, they're robbery suspects with their guns, but they're black, and we're right in the middle of the Black Lives movement. Why did you do that? Why didn't you have a car chase? Of course, I'm thinking, those knuckleheads, they probably didn't even realize that I was on vacation. They just knew it was North Tac, and my name was attached to North Tac as the senior sergeant.
Yeah, well, I know one of them that they caught at that scene was good for 10 robberies on his ankle monitor.
Yeah.
He pretended to be an employee, jumped in the back of a truck, and one of the officers, threw a little bit of question, figured out he wasn't supposed to be there, gets him down. When he jumps down, he sees his ankle monitor, and they pinged it, and it was like 10 robberies he was good for. Okay, who's running these ankle monitors?
Well,
they don't really actually track the.
Yes,
they don't.
Really?
No, they don't.
No.
Obviously.
And it's only after. In fact, I think they even have to get some sort of warrant or judicial approval to go back and look at, the pings of the ankle monitor post whatever happened. So it's not like, you got your ankle monitor on and you break your geofence of the house you're supposed to be in. There's no little alarm going off at the DA's office.
I realize, but there's a printout that you can get from HPD that shows the locations of robberies, and you don't have, and you can go 3, 4. And you could do it. And with the new RMS system, you can, you put in the information, and it's supposed to automatically.
Well, that's maybe now, but not back then, or there's only a few people that knew that. We also saw, too, that a lot of the robbery crews, it wasn't so much, they didn't want to operate in Houston. They really wanted to operate in Harris County, but not in Montgomery County, just in that kind of no man's land, because it wasn't policed as much, and the robbery investigators were just, there's like 3 of them, and, 800 cases a year or so or more. And so a lot of their robberies were right there, just outside of the city limits, somewhere in the city, but that was the sweet spot. And God forbid if you go to Montgomery County, because they're real conservative, and if you get caught, they're going to...
Life in prison is what.
Yeah, they're going to nail you. One of the reasons why we had 2 ATF agents and an FBI agent was because the DA's office in Harris County had gotten so weak, and these guys, we had, we'd catch them one day and the next day they're out on no or little bond, but we went for federal prosecution. And back then in the federal system, like say we catch a robbery suspect, the judge is bound by you know what? You're still a threat to the community, so no bond. You're gonna be remanded to the U.S. Marshals until trial. And we'd be in the federal court, and the defendants would be like, huh, why me? Why me? Because they were so used to the Harris County system, then they were getting.
So do you think Kim Ogg is a threat to the community?
Yes.
And do you think that Sylvester Turner is also a threat to the community to the extent that he kind of handcuffs the department
I think it's I think it's inherent with almost all your Democrat-run cities. I've heard that Kim Ogg was financed by Soros, and a lot of the people that she brought in, they are like-minded, and a lot of the people that were more conservative or more law and order, they're gone. They've left.
So let me explain how it really works, because I ran for city council in 2007.
I didn't know.
All right, so here's what goes. Here's kind of how it works. You'll be a candidate for district attorney, right? Mm-hmm. And it's, obviously it's an attorney. So you have like 3 or 4 or 5 attorneys who have filled out that application to become the DA candidate. And depending on which party, Republican or Democrat. So how the Houston Chronicle and other news agencies, start rating candidates initially is based on how much money you've raised in your campaign fund.
Okay.
So, and the people around George Soros kind of understand this because they've created this network, right? And they heavily influence the media. So they signal to people, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we're going to donate $1 million to that candidate. Why? Because, George Soros makes money betting against things like, is the stock market, I'll make money if the stock market crashes. And, it's called shorting the market.
Okay.
Right? I'll make money if the real estate market collapses, because what will happen is, there will be a large number of foreclosures, for example, 2007, 2008, and I'll be able to buy property at 60%, 50% of its normal value, and then
flip it.
Yeah, I'll make money. But the first thing you have to do is you have to create the collapse. Right? You have to create the environment in which the collapse is going to happen. And that's what they're doing right now. So they're putting people in strategic positions to create the collapse. And so he'll donate $1 million to a particular district attorney. And then all the other Democrats will say, oh, okay. So, and because newspapers, local media, Channel 13, Channel 2, they'll say, well, Kim Ogg has $1 million in her campaign finance account. The other candidates have only raised about $20,000.
Well, let me just stop you for a second. What's the advantage for Soros and them to have the collapse of law and order within the city?
So there's an old saying from the Rothschild family.
Okay.
You buy real estate when there's blood in the streets.
Because the real estate values are
down. Yeah. So first you got to get the blood in the streets. So that's what they're doing in Los Angeles. That's what they're doing in San Francisco, in New York, in Houston, is they're getting the blood in the street.
Bring the prices down.
Right. And then it forces everyone to start fleeing, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we used to call it white flight, but really it was just working class flight.
Sure.
Okay. And, they move out to the exurbs or whatever. And then so your centralized commercial property values start collapsing. The place that it was most dramatic was Seattle.
Okay.
Right. Because, and now New York, ever since COVID-19 came in, commercial property in New York has started going down. But in Seattle, when they had that whole Chaz movement, yeah, and you had all these riots going on, you saw commercial property in Seattle start collapsing in value, and you see all the plywood being put in front of the windows.
That makes a lot of sense. I thought it was more social engineering, but I guess it's always follow the money.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you Google the phrase buy land when there's blood in the street, it goes back hundreds of years to London, England, right? And he was able to buy, or the Rothschild family has been able to buy property when, for example, when London was burning, mm-hmm. right? You go in and you buy all these properties that have burned down, and then you can commercially develop them and then make billions of dollars, right? And so that's kind of what they're doing. So long story short, I think what you're seeing is the systemic collapse of our country. I think there's a multitude of parties. The Chinese Communist Party is going to profit from it. Certain banking institutions intend to profit from it. And as a result, you've got kind of a coalescing of interests to crash things. And, you're seeing it on the front line, on the streets with criminals that they're enabling to engage in criminal conduct because they want them to. And that's what people find so hard to believe. Kim Ogg and the Democrat Party and the judges. Because remember, it's not the DA that sets the bond, it's the judge that sets the bond.
But the DAs also make recommendations.
Yeah, I know, but judges rarely follow them. Well, these judges don't really follow them. Anyway, long story short, they are creating the conditions that you're seeing on purpose.
For the collapse of the city.
Yeah, because they want to collapse things, because their financial backers will ultimately benefit from it. All right. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today on The Dirty Hands of the Republic, here with Chris Andersen, retired HPD Sergeant, and Joe Fenwick. And please like and subscribe. We always appreciate a good algorithmic bump. So thank you for joining us.